It's game day, everyone. Hello, nation citizens. Caroline and Tyler here with you for the Giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford. And I'm feeling good today, Tyler. I don't know if you're feeling what I'm feeling, but I'm feeling calm, relaxed, happy. Maybe it might be a sign.
Yeah, hopefully it is, because the Oilers haven't given us a lot to be happy about as of late. 3 straight losses now for a team that hadn't lost back-to-back up to this point. And, you know, I'll give them an ounce of credit for the way they played against Minnesota, but at the end of the day, a 4-1 loss is a 4-1 loss.
It's tough because in the first couple minutes of their game against the Wild, you know, Minnesota found a way to score.
Yeah.
Never want to start off a game like that.
Nope.
Let's break it down. They're 16-8-0 right now on the season. We know that the Oilers got off to a super hot start. We eventually knew it would cool down. We didn't expect them to go all regular season long on this like hot streak. But if we don't address and figure out these issues and underlying concerns like slow starts, we have a tough game tonight against the Bruins. We have the Hurricanes coming up, and then we have the Leafs next week. As quick and hot as this start was for the Oilers, it can just as quickly come down if these concerns and issues aren't addressed and dealt with.
Oh, 100%. Like a great start to the season is exactly that. It's a great start to the season, and banking the points is important. I think there's a ton of value of that. At the end of the day, a win in October means just as much as a win in February or March. But that quick start, I mean, as the losses pile up, it starts to mean less and less. And there are some concerns with this team right now. I thought the game against Minnesota was one of their better, if not their best 5-on-5 effort of the season. Like you said, they gave up a couple of goals early, but they actually played really well right off the start. I thought they were getting a lot of zone time. They were in Minnesota's end. They were getting chances on Talbot, who played great. But that almost makes the fact that they were losing after the first that much more deflating, right? When you play that well, and then you sit there in the intermission and go, what more can we do?
Well, that's where it's scary, and that's where the Oilers and maybe even management need to figure it out. And I was listening to the radio, and there was a suggestion made, and it was that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins should be moved down the middle on the third line so that our top 3 centers are McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nuge to help point production in the bottom 6 and hopefully kickstart the point production that the Oilers desperately need outside, obviously, McDavid and Draisaitl. Do you think that this could be a key component to help the Oilers maybe spark that point production and change this little slump that they're in?
I think if you're going to do it, you have to go with the approach of we're going to build 3 closer to balanced lines. Like, if you're going to put Nugent-Hopkins down on the third line and play him with Foegele and Kassian, I don't think that's a solution. But if maybe you were to go McDavid with Kassian and Hyman, and then Dry with Yamamoto and maybe it's Foegele, but then Nuge with Puljujarvi and McLeod on the left side. Like, if you were to balance them out, maybe it would work, but I just don't think that's a long-term solution. I think they need Nugent-Hopkins to be a solid top 6 winger for them, or their second-line center, and they just need someone in that bottom 6 to kind of take the bull by the horns and show a bit of an offensive pulse, because Fogel's flat, Cassian's flat, McLeod's been okay, but he's a rookie, and they're getting absolutely nothing from their fourth line. Something's got to change. Maybe the Nugent-Hopkins to the third line can just get them going in the right direction, but I don't know if it's a long-term solution.
But maybe right now with 3 losses under their belt, and God forbid a 4th one tonight against the Bruins, because we know that we'll get into the opposition report in a second, but maybe that risk right now, I wouldn't even call it a risk, but that tactical adjustment to bring Nugent to the third line might be kind of what they need to see even how it goes, because at this point, you need to try things out.
Yeah, you need to try things out, and you're looking for a spark, right?
Yes.
And when you get to these lulls in the regular season, because 82 games is a long time, and you're not just going to run the same 12 forwards every game. You're not going to run the same 6 defensemen. The same thing isn't going to work night in, night out. So maybe just throwing Nugent-Hopkins there and getting some sort of spark is what they need to just get the ball rolling back down the hill a little bit here. So it's an interesting idea. I don't think we're going to see anything like that tonight, but man, if it's 4 in a row going into Saturday, I mean, you got to start doing something.
I know. Well, let's go into the positives. Cody Ceci was skating yesterday, and we'll get into the lines in a second, but such a good omen to kind of go into the Bruins game knowing that our defense, hopefully, knock on wood, is getting healthy.
Yeah, you have your 3 best defensemen all in the lineup tonight. Yep. Nurse is back, Bouchard's still playing really well, and now you welcome back Cody Ceci, who's been a really, really dependable player for you on your back end. I'm a little bit surprised Niemelainen stays in the lineup. We'll touch on that in a second, but you're starting to get healthy, so injuries aren't really much of an excuse anymore. And with Ceci back, hopefully he just gives them that little bit more stability on their blue line.
Okay, let's put the Minnesota Wild game in the past and move on to the opposition report presented by Yegburger. The 12-8-2 Bruins are at Rogers Place tonight, coming off of 2 losses to the Lightning and the Canucks. Fun fact, the Bruins have not lost 3-0 this season yet. This team is, obviously, we've talked about it, a lot of great players, Marchand, Pasternak, Bergeron, but they're not your typical Bruins team that you've seen in past seasons.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is right now about them. You know, Jason Greger in his article on OilersNation.com alluded to the fact maybe they haven't found their rhythm yet. So if the Oilers come out tonight playing fast hockey, they have a chance to beat this Bruins team and kind of really what they need right now.
We'll talk about it a little bit more in the line combos as well. This Bruins team lacks the depth that they've had in recent years. They lost David Krejci over the offseason. He was an important part of that team, 5-on-5 on the PK and on the penalty kill. Power play and penalty kill. And they didn't replace him. So now you got Charlie Coyle moved up the lineup. And, you know, he's not really a legit top six centerman. And that hurts their bottom six as well. So this Bruins team, they still have the perfection line. That's a great trio. But they are missing a little bit of what made them the dominant Bruins in the past. And that's why they're not competing for a division title this year. They're competing for a playoff spot. They're just trying to get in, right?
It's crazy.
So they played last night as well. And Vancouver played them very, very hard last night. That was a grinding, physical game, and I got the sense it took a lot out of the Bruins. They had to go all the way to overtime as well in the loss. So the Oilers might be getting a Bruins team that's lacking depth and might be lacking a little bit of energy. So that's another reason why I'm in part believing that the Oilers can snap out of this losing streak tonight.
Okay, before we head to the lines presented by Dew's Vodka, Spiced Oil in the Twitter chat said, #bring back your Omperchuck. Maybe that's, honestly, if that's what we need to do to get the Oilers out of this slump, Tyler, you got to take one for the team.
Maybe on Saturday night we'll get some content going around. That's got to be like a break glass in case of emergency thing. The romper will come out if they've lost like 4 or 5 in a row, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, go into the lines for the Bruins.
Yeah, let's get into it here. Talked about that lack of depth. Obviously, the top line, not an issue. The perfection line, Bergeron with Marchand and Pasternak. Marchand was serving a 3-game suspension. He returned to the lineup last night. Charlie Coyle with Craig Smith and the former Oiler Taylor Hall. Trent Frederick with Eric Holla and Nick Foligno on the third line. And Curtis Lazar, the former Oil King, with Jake DeBrusk on the left side. Oscar Steen took a cross-check in that game last night. I'm not sure if he's going to play. In fact, that bottom six in general might get a little bit jumbled up tonight for the Bruins since they didn't skate today and played last night. So something to keep an eye on there. The blue line, Derek Forbert with Charlie McAvoy, Matt Grzelcyk with Brandon Carlo, Mike Riley with Connor Clifton. Their top power play unit is Foligno, Bergeron, Pasternak, Marchand, and McAvoy. Getting the start tonight is Linus Ullmark for the Boston Bruins. So far on the year, he is 5-4 with a .268 goals against average and a .911 save percentage. He's allowed exactly 2 goals in each of his last 3 starts. Something the Bruins have done really well lately, Caroline, is they've kept pucks out of their net. In their last 5 games, they've only allowed 7 goals against in regulation time. This Bruins team knows how to play a button-down, good structured hockey game. It's going to be up to the Oilers to push their own pace on this game and sort of break it open, make this thing a track meet. Back and forth, offensive chance for offensive chance, and I think you have a chance to win.
Well, as a former Toronto Maple Leafs fans, there's no team I dislike more than the Boston Bruins, so the Oilers better get the freaking job done tonight. We are not going 4 losses in a row. Okay, how about the lines for the Edmonton Oilers? The good guys, and like I said, Cody Ceci back in the lineup.
So let's start with the D pairs. It's going to be Darnell Nurse with Evan Bouchard on the top pairing. Bouchard 5 points in his last 5 games. Chris Russell with Cody Ceci is going to be the shutdown second pairing. And the third pair is Marcus Niemelainen with Tyson Barrie. Interesting that Niemelainen stays in the lineup over Broberg, but the Oilers are going to have to make a roster move before this hockey game to officially activate Cody Ceci. So I think what's going to happen is Philip Broberg's going to go back down to the Condors just because he doesn't need waivers to go there. So that's likely what's going to happen on the blue line, but we'll obviously wait for confirmation there. The Oilers, top 6, McDavid with Puljujarvi and Hyman. That trio combined for 7 goals in the last 5 games. Draisaitl with Yamamoto and Nuge, so the return of the Dry, Rye, and Kai line. The third line is McLeod with Cassian and Fogle. They really, really need that trio to get going and give them some offense. Derek Ryan will center a line with Colton Sevier and Devin Shore. Between the pipes, Stuart Skinner gets the start for the Oilers. First time since December 3rd that he's back between the pipes. 2-4 record on the season for Skinner. 2.70 goals against average, .921 save percentage. They're going to need .921 or better tonight against Boston.
I like Skinner tonight in between the pipes.
I think it's a good call. I think Mikko, he kind of got hung out to dry on a few. I didn't like that first goal on one of the first shots of the game again, but I like the choice to go back to Skinner in this hockey game. I think he's got a little bit to prove after that game against Seattle.
And I like the second line because I said to last pregame show, Yamo's really been lacking on point production. I also think Nuge has been a little quiet from the way he started. So maybe this line's going to spark some magic and get Yamo and Nuge back into the hot streak that, at least Nuge was in.
Someone's got to want to be the hero here. Like, you need, it sounds weird, but like, you need someone like a Yamo or in the third line, like a Fogle or a McLeod to go and have like a 2-goal game for you and really help give you that boost offensively, because they're not getting like back-to-back games with 1 goal. That should not be happening for this Oilers team. It shouldn't.
Yeah, a spark. It's exactly it. We need someone to grind it out. Okay, bet of the game presented by PointsBet. Where are you putting your money tonight, your Chuck?
Coming off a win since Darnell Nurse racked up another 7 shots on goal, and they're not moving his shot prop at all. It's still set at 2.5, paying -125. So I'm all over that for our bet of the game. We're 14-11 on the year, plus 1.1 units. Nurse -125 over 2.5 shots. Love that bet. The Oilers, they're favorites in this hockey game, according to PointsBet, -125 on the money line, plus 115 in regulation, and plus 180 on the puck line. Oilers as favorites this year, 13-6.
Wow.
Oilers as Boston as underdogs, 0-4-1. They have not won a game when they are underdogs this season. Hover over the Crystals, because I think the Oilers are bouncing back tonight. Taking them in regulation seems like an okay play. I also kind of like their team total in this one. It's set at an even 3. -125 is the payout. I think at worst you're getting a push there. I think the Oilers can score 4 though and get the win tonight against Boston.
Zodiac report quickly, guys. My faith's in Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. We talked about him a little bit earlier in the pregame show. He's an Aries, which means he has a lot of passion, drive, energy, and is motivated and, of course, fearless. He had 2 assists against the Kraken, 1 against the Kings. We really need him to come back and be that apple tree that he was at the beginning of the season. And him and Yamo, we really need them to start. Like we were just saying, we need that spark. We need that grind. We need someone who can go and get 2 goals for us tonight and kind of maybe take, not the pressure off McDavid and Draisaitl, but not fully put that load on McDavid and Draisaitl. So we'll see what the boys can do tonight, but I think that it's important that players like Yamo, Nuge, Hyman, get in the role a little bit of getting those goals and getting those assists.
Digging into the comment sections a little bit over on the Facebook chat, which I bring up first only to annoy the Twitch chat. Peter said we are not losing tonight. Bradley said Skinner is the better goalie. Over on the Twitch chat, you're getting some love for your Frank shirt.
Frank's picks. I didn't want to make it about me at the beginning of the show, but it's about Frank's. I don't know. I'm totally off the screen now as I stand, but it's about Frank. I don't know who Frank picked today for the win, so if you guys can let us know in the chat, but get your t-shirt. Bag Milk has all the details. Goes to the best cause at the Edmonton Humane Society, and we got to support Frank.
I like this one here from DangleDump94 right off the bat in the Twitch chat. Yamo and DeBrusk do a jersey swap NFL style at center ice to announce the trade before the game. I mean, I know a lot of Oilers fans itching to get DeBrusk, and he's making his return to his hometown tonight. A lot of romper talk in here, so I should just roll right past that. Also,
romper chuck.
Bearded Brad said, Tyler, how many Neon Nation bombs tonight? I think you get 1, Brad. I called 2, I think, one time earlier this year. I nailed that. So I'll say you get 1 Neon Nation bomb from Leon Draisaitl.
We should do Bearded Brad a solid, because he's such a loyal watcher and follower that if Draisaitl gets over 65 goals this season, we should do a Nation bomb on the pregame show.
Yeah, we should do something
and
like that.
Have him here.
Legally, are we allowed to do a shot and chug a beer on camera? Who knows? I guess we'll find out later this year.
Forget anything that I just said on camera.
We should do that for Draisaitl's 50th goal.
Yeah, we should. We need to celebrate somehow. Yep. All right, everyone. This has been your giant pregame show. The Boston Bruins are at Rogers Place tonight taking on the Edmonton Oilers. We'll see you on Twitter, and we'll see you back here next game day. Peace.
Enjoy the game.